Hello and welcome to Forever Motorsports for the F1 qualifying here in Japan, the Suzuka circuit, and what a qualifying session we have in store for you. The rain has not come. It's going to be a dry session, it seems, which is good to see considering we've had so much rain disrupt our weekend so far. And yeah, it's going to be great to see which cars are going to come out on top. The Red Bulls are looking very good with their upgrades this weekend. The Mercedes are looking very, very good. We are looking at, I think this is one of the McLarens who went off a little bit in one of the practice sessions in an attempted qualifying sim there. And I think the McLarens have also got lots to prove this weekend. Not looking particularly quick quite just yet. Same as the Ferraris, looking a little bit frustrated right now, but hopefully we're going to see a bit more pace from them in this qualifying session as well. Of course, being Japan, we've got Yuki Tsunoda getting a lot of support from the home fans, and he's been doing all right this weekend so far in all three FP sessions. He has finished in the top 10. He's hoping that he's going to finish quite high up in the qualifying session. RB's team principal saying that they should finish at the top of the pack for the midfield teams, which is good to see that RB are quite strong in that regard, which gives Yuki Tsunoda and Daniel Ricciardo a little bit more confidence going into more Grand Prix as they go along, hopefully to get some more points. Of course, as Yuki Tsunoda, the fan favorite for today in this qualifying session. A lot of fans there in Japan hoping that he does well. But of course, we're going to see other teams go and compete it all out. So whilst you guys are joining, be sure to like the stream as well and hit that subscribe button if you have not already. And be sure to go check out our channel sponsors in the description as well. We've got BITDEFENDER there. You've got award-winning cybersecurity, and you need to use BITDEFENDER for all your cybersecurity needs across all of your devices. And if you go and click the link in our description, you can get a discount on that brilliant cybersecurity right there. And everybody needs cybersecurity, especially in this day and age. It's quite dangerous out there otherwise. So go and be sure to check out BITDEFENDER in the description there. And also, if you're looking for a place to watch Formula One, be sure to go and check out the description as well. We've got a how-to guide on how you guys can do that completely free, completely legal. Yes, but otherwise, I'm sure you guys will be joining me here. Please let me know where you're tuning in from. I'd love to know where everybody is coming in from. If you guys are joining me as a new watcher, please let me know as well in the comments. If you are a regular, again, let me know. Tell me that you're here, and we're going to have a great qualifying session, of course, as well. We've got a poll up right now. It says who will finish in pole position. Max Verstappen currently leading that poll by quite some margin. Carlos Sainz and the other categories getting quite a bit after that. Oscar Piastri getting next to no votes in that poll right now, but go and participate in that poll. Let us know your thoughts, and if your driver is not there, tell us who you think is going to top qualifying right now. Do you think the Red Bull upgrade has been too good this weekend? Because it is certainly quite a powerful upgrade. Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez leading both FP sessions that we actually had proper running. FP2 was a bit of a lame session, but FP1 and FP3, they topped both of them. And the Mercedes, though, still looking quite quick as well. So they seem to have found a bit of pace. We're hoping that we're going to see them continue that into qualifying and the race itself. Aston Martin's Fernando Alonso has not been doing too badly as well. We're hoping that he's going to have a decent qualifying session. He's not had the greatest start to the season, but we are really hoping that he's going to do something today. And I'm sure it's going to be a bit more of an interesting qualifying session than we've had recently, because I do think that we're going to see some surprises, at least in the midfield and towards the upper, towards the region of 5th and 4th. I think the top three might be a little bit more normal, but I think outside of that, it might be something interesting. Again, eyes on Ferrari, though. They weren't looking particularly quick in FP3. We're hoping that they're going to be a lot better in this qualifying session, doing some more paced laps than we saw in FP3. Just about 6 minutes away from the start of qualifying here in the Suzuka Grand Prix. The crowds are huge, and there are a lot of Red Bull supporters, of course, because of the Honda engines. But Honda will be leaving Red Bull soon, and as we saw yesterday with a fan, removing all their Red Bull gear and putting on Aston Martin gear, because that is where they are moving to. Aston Martin and Honda are going to be partnering up in the future, so that's going to be great to see. So I'm sure we'll see a lot more Aston Martin fans in the future here in Suzuka. And so yeah, we're really starting to see that trend start to happen. And we've got a lot of Honda fans for RB as well, with Yuki Tsunoda being their main driver there. Daniel Ricciardo also needing to do a little bit more this weekend in comparison to his teammate. I'm hoping that he does do something. Otherwise, I think his seat is very much under threat at the moment. So yeah, it's a big one. It's a big talking point. Hopefully, we're going to see some improvement there from Daniel Ricciardo and just generally across the board. So if we just quickly go through the results from FP3, if we could just give us a rough indicator of where the teams are going into qualifying. Again, remembering some of these might have been race sims, some of these might be a little bit quicker than they should be, some of them might be a little bit slower than they will be in qualifying because of other factors, and maybe they'll all be a little bit different from what it is right now. But going through quickly, as Kevin Magnussen was 20th in the Haas, Logan Sargent 19th in the Williams, Lance Stroll all the way down in the 18th for Aston Martin, Pierre Gasly in 17th, Haas's Nico Hulkenberg in 16th, Kicksauber's Zhou Guanyu in 15th, Alpine in 14th with Esteban Ocon, Daniel Ricciardo in the RB Honda in 13th, Kicksauber's Valtteri Bottas 12th, and 11th was Williams' Alexander Albon. But here we are in Suzuka. Let's quickly go through the various stats that we've got for the track. Of course, we are in the Suzuka circuit, a favorite of Sebastian Vettel, former world champion. It is 5.8 kilometers long, full throttle spent at 64% of the time. The top speed is 322 kilometers. There are 18 turns and an elevation of 40 meters. Of course, this is the only track in the calendar where the track actually goes over each other. It does have a little bridge going over the track. It's the only track on the calendar that does that. Compounds are the harder tires, the C3, C2, and the C1. The C3 being the softest, the C1 being the hardest tire, available to all the drivers for this weekend. The crowds are looking incredible here in Suzuka. It is jam-packed here, which is great to see. Clouds are overhead, but it is dry, which is the main thing. That is the main thing, of course, a dry track, and there are thousands of people here. Weather conditions right now, as I say, partly cloudy, 17 degrees right now, 28 degrees in the track temperature. Humidity is 56%, and there is a southerly wind at 6.8 kilometers right now. So again, going through those results from FP3, from 10th place up to first, we have Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari was only 10th in FP3. Yuki Tsunoda at home was 9th in his RB Honda. Oscar Piastri was 8th in his McLaren. Carlos Sainz was 7th in his Ferrari. Lando Norris was 6th in his McLaren. 5th was Fernando Alonso. 4th was Lewis Hamilton. 3rd was George Russell. 2nd, Sergio Perez, and 1st, Max Verstappen. So again, the Mercedes and the Red Bulls right at the top there with the Aston Martin of Fernando Alonso in 5th place. And we've got a few people now joining us in the comments section. Great to have you all here. And again, please be sure to like the stream right now if you have not already. Let's get a little bit of action going in the stream already by liking the video. And again, if you're new, subscribe to the channel. Let me know where you're watching from. I see a few more regulars starting to join us here. We've got Adam here saying, does anybody, Ricardo should move to the karts. He loved it in the US. Anyway, well, I think Ricardo is going to have a hard look at his career choices right now, because his Formula One career right now is not going particularly well. He needs to improve dramatically very, very soon. Lindy is joining us. Hello, everyone. Great to see you here. Yanni's here saying hello. Valkyrie saying, will Norris land will Raris, I'm assuming Norris rather, or land on 3 and 4. Well, I think we're going to have to see what happens there. Noah Potkita also joining us. Good morning, everybody. Great to have you here alongside us as well. All the drivers are in the cars. The Ferraris are looking set to go. The fans in Suzuka, of course, are quite crazy. Well, not crazy, but they're certainly very passionate about it, and they come with these crazy costumes and fantastic outfits, and it's great to see so many of them out in the crowd, and I love the support we get here in Suzuka. It is quite a cool Grand Prix in that regard. Peter Cubs here joining us from Tasmania. Great to have you here. Very, very interesting. Christian Horner here is looking back upon his garage, seeing his Red Bull cars there, hoping that it's going to be a good day for them as well. Cora is joining us again. Good morning, everyone. Did I miss anything during the free practices? Not too much, other than the Red Bulls and the Mercedes are looking quite good. So Logan Sargent, of course, is now taking for the rest of the season what was originally Alex Albon's Williams car, and he's now taken it for himself after that accident that Alexander Albon had. And yeah, they've now swapped cars for the remainder of the season, at least for the foreseeable future. after the repairs were made to what was Alex Albon's car, now is Logan Sargent's car. And there we go. Q1 is underway. It is an 18-minute long session. 1-8. That means there's enough time to do at least 3 laps, if not 4. Kevin Magnussen, the first car to lead us out there. He's the only one to make his way out onto track right now. And all the crowd respond to the little bit of action in the pit lane. There's a big cheer from the crowd as the Haas makes its way around. And I think a few more cars now leaving the pits as well after Kevin Magnussen. So there's high tire wear in this track. It is quite a medium downforce track. So medium tires and hard tires will be preferred in the race itself, but obviously soft tires will still be considered for qualifying. They're probably the best tires, but you don't want to use the soft tires too many times with too many runs, otherwise they will start to degrade quite significantly. And already a minute has passed, and nobody else seems to be leaving the pit lane just yet. Magnussen, the only one out on track, just doing a bit of a sighter. I think he's going to go and put in a first fast lap just to see what the sort of conditions are and to see how they should be setting up the car a little bit for this qualifying session. The two Red Bulls not looking like they're going anywhere anytime soon, but I'm sure we'll see some more movement in the pit lane in the next few minutes. And here we go. Haas's Kevin Magnussen now starting a hot lap for himself as he blitzes down the start finish. It's got such an interesting start to this track. Exceptionally high speed corner, quite dangerous in the race itself, but it's exceptionally exciting for us to watch. It's a very, very high speed sector 1. And that's why I love the circuit so much, because in the beginning of the race, my word, do we get a lot of action, because people barely get off the throttle in sector 1, and only in sector 2 do they slam on the brakes, basically. So it's really, really cool to see. Such a fast track, of course. And there we go. And Kevin Magnussen's sector 1 time has been put in now, and he's moving into sector 2. Quite a long track, as I say, quite a while to get around. And now Kevin Magnussen comes to the first proper braking point before slamming on the pedal once again. Again, still the only car out on track right now as he's completing his lap in sector 2 on those soft tires. It's looking quite good actually so far. It's been quite a well lined up lap. Oh, a little bit of a correction there, as I say, the commentators curse, as they say, but otherwise been looking quite comfortable in the car. And he's now coming down that final long straight before the final couple of corners here, and this is where they really get up to quite a high speed. No DRS in this section, not just yet. And yeah, he now comes through those final couple of corners, now comes into the DRS zone and going over the straight. And let's see what time he puts in, a 1:31.2. Now we expect quite a lot quicker than the 1:31.2 from many of the cars. 1:29s and 1:28s might be on the cards here for quite a few teams. So the 1:31.2, I don't think will be enough to get them into Q2 right now, but of course the first lap of the day. So he's finished that up at 1:31.2, and that has encouraged a whole lot of other cars to now start leaving the pits. It looks like the Williams of, I think that is Logan Sargent, it is indeed, has now left the garage, and I think his teammate Alexander Albon has also left just behind him. Indeed, Alexander Albon and his Williams has also left just behind him. So a little bit more movement in the pit lane now. Stefan here is joining us. Morning, guys. Great to have you, Stefan. Great to see you here. Blanche is asking if there's no actual vid. Well, of course, it is illegal to show such, but you guys can go check out the description of the video, and you can find a way to do that completely free using our partners there, ExpressVPN, and go follow that watch guide and also use our link to get ExpressVPN for yourself. And then you can watch Formula One alongside all of us. And here we go, more movement in the pits now, quite significant movement. We've got the Red Bulls coming out of the pits, we've got the Ferraris, we've got the Mercedes, we've got the Aston Martins, we've got everybody making their way out. And it's this awkward thing again that I'm sure we're going to have complaints again in the qualifying, is the fact that people are going so slowly in pit lane, but you're not allowed to stop But there's also a minimum lap time, of course, that you've got to get around. So I think there might be some complaints here from quite a few of the drivers. And the Aston Martin's now leading out. It's quite important that Lance Stroll does something. Indeed. So looking at this replay here from Oscar Piastri, we got the, oh my word, Russell coming out of the pits very, very dangerously and coming more or less into Oscar Piastri. So, yeah, there might be a little bit of an investigation into that. That was almost straight into Oscar Piastri as he came out there. So George Russell might get a little bit of a reprimand from the FIA for that little piece of action. But we're now on board. Max Verstappen is on his out lap here. Almost everybody made their way out into the pits in that sector there. The only driver still yet to make their way out onto track is Lando Norris, Yuki Tsunoda, the two Kick Saubers, and Hulkenberg as Stroll has now also made his way out. Norris is inside the pits still, not making a bit of a move yet. I think he's just waiting for a little bit more of a clear pit lane because he wants to keep his tyres nice and warm. I suppose it makes a good idea because I never understand why everyone goes out there, they get their tyres quite cool whilst they're out on track waiting for all these people to exit the pit lane. That, or you can just stay inside the pits with your tire blankets on, get your tires relatively warm, and then just go out without having to let go. But now, our world champion from last season, the season before that, and the season before that is Max Verstappen, starting his hot lap now, and noting FIA stewards are going to see that unsafe release from Russell, and they'll make an investigation after this session. Might just be a fine or something along those lines. So Max Verstappen is Red Bull going around Suzuka now. Let's see how quickly he can get around this track. What sort of time we're going to expect from him? Let me know in the comments immediately before he gets to the end of this lap. What sort of times are we going to see from Max Verstappen here? And Charles Leclerc is following him into this lap as well. So we're going to have a good comparison between the Ferraris and Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen already got a new purple sector, 1.1 seconds quicker than Kevin Magnussen already, which means we're looking at the low 130s for Max Verstappen, possibly into the 129s already. Charles Leclerc is only half a second quicker than Magnussen, which means he's almost a whole 0.6 seconds behind Max Verstappen in that first sector. Carlos Sainz, though, a lot closer. He's only about 0.2 seconds behind him. Meanwhile, Logan Sargent has gone quickest at 130.6 that he's managed to put in his Williams. Let's see what Alex Albon can do in relation to his teammate. He now goes quickest at 130.3. Max Verstappen now, Sector 2, finishes up 1.4 seconds quicker than Alex Albon's time. Sergio Perez now has gone quickest at 129.3. Good lap from him. Now, here comes Max Verstappen. He's going to come across the line in just about a couple of seconds. And there he goes across the line. 128.8 into the 128s already. My word. Very, very quick lap there from Max Verstappen. Sergio Perez also second there. Charles Leclerc crosses the line now. He's going to go a little bit slower than them. Almost into 130s even for himself, a 129.8. And Carlos Sainz is going quicker than his teammate, though, a 128 points, no, actually 129.5. So he's still a little bit quicker than Charles Leclerc, but not anywhere near those Red Bulls. And there goes Hamilton, fourth place, a 129.6 for himself. And here comes Russell across the line. He's going quite slower than his teammate, a 129.8. Pretty much for George Russell. So our main teams there are crossing the lines. Here comes Oscar Piastri. Where does he finish up? A 129.4. He goes third fastest. Not too bad for the McLaren there. Good to see a little bit of pace from him. Fernando Alonso is who I'm now keeping my eyes on. I want to see how he fares. Where is he on the track? He should be crossing the line in just a little bit. Yuki Tsunoda, though, going relatively quickly as well. There you go. Fernando Alonso, second place, a 129.2. Brilliant lap from Fernando Alonso. Great to see him getting quite a lot of pace there. Where are we going to see Lance Stroll finish up? Because Lance Stroll's not been competing with his teammate very, very well so far. There you go, ninth position only, a 130.0. Needs to be a lot quicker than that does Lance Stroll. But nonetheless, Fernando Alonso does very well to get into second. Esteban Ocon goes into 10th in his Alpine. Alexander Albon quite slow now compared to everybody else. Daniel Ricciardo goes 10th at 130.1. Yuki Tsunoda, though, with all eyes on him. How's he going to fare in the second sector compared to Max Verstappen's time? He's 0.777 seconds behind it. Lando Norris, meanwhile, is also going around. He's going around quite quickly as well. Let's see where he can finish up here. Yuki Tsunoda now coming around the last couple of corners for his home fans here in Suzuka circuit. He's going to come across quite quickly here. He's looking very, very good. And he comes across the line now, a 129.8 into 8th place. That's really not too bad from the RB car, just behind those Mercedes cars. So good lap from him. So Lando Norris, our last major driver to come across the line. He's currently finishing up the Sector 2 time. Where's he going to compete with Max Verstappen? He is currently 0.56 seconds down on it, which means he's looking around about his teammate Oscar Piastri and Carlos Sainz in that 4th or 5th position. So let's go. Oh, Lando Norris has a bit of a spin there. Not quite a spin, but certainly takes the corner a little bit too hard. He might have lost a tiny bit of time there. He comes across the 9. Indeed, he did lose a tiny bit of time there. 129.5, only good enough for 6th place. So, after all of our major drivers across the lines, here's where we stand. Max Verstappen is 1st. Fernando Alonso is 2nd. Sergio Perez is 3rd. Oscar Piastri 4th. Carlos Sainz 5th. Lando Norris 6th. Hamilton 7th. Russell 8th. Yuki Tsunoda 9th. And Charles Leclerc only in 10th. Bernard here in the comments, or Bernard, saying go Ferrari, and hoping that Ferrari does quite well here. Yuki Tsunoda quite significantly quicker than his teammate Daniel Ricciardo throughout his lap. He's 0.28 seconds up on his teammate, and one hopes that Daniel Ricciardo will improve a little bit. More importantly, Lance Stroll and Charles Leclerc were quite slow compared to their teammates. Lance Stroll all the way down 11th compared to Fernando Alonso, who's in 2nd. Charles Leclerc is 10th compared to Carlos Sainz, who's in 5th. So a bit of a concern there for the Ferrari and Aston Martin as to why their drivers are not closer. You're watching a replay of Lando Norris. Was that turn that I noted. He goes straight across it and just loses a little bit, which loses him quite a bit of time. And he only ends up there in 6th. So I think he could have got into 4th if he just nailed that couple of last corners there. Otherwise, yeah, we would have seen Lando Norris a little bit further up, but nonetheless, not a bad start for McLaren, up in 4th and 6th. It's quite comfortable right now. Very good start for Fernando Alonso in his Aston Martin, who brought quite a few upgrades this weekend, and hopefully we're going to see them in action in the race and make a difference. Really want to see Aston Martin do quite well again in the future. They're going to be paired up with Honda, of course, so this will become what would be their home circuit in the future. So one hopes that we're going to see them improve quite dramatically before then so that they can compete right near the top there. Also, interestingly, though, is Fernando Alonso. We're talking all about him up there in 2nd. He had some chats with Christian Horner in this last week. Potentially could become Max Verstappen's teammate in the future. Wouldn't that be interesting? If Fernando Alonso, with all his experience and his age, obviously oldest Formula One driver in history, could he make his way into what is arguably a championship-winning car? Is another championship on the cards for Fernando Alonso? Could he compete with Max Verstappen? Could Max Verstappen put up with the likes of Fernando Alonso? They like each other a lot, but put themselves in the same sort of car. We're going to see some fighting there because none of them want to give up position at all. It could be very interesting to see if Fernando Alonso makes a move to Red Bull. I think that would be very exciting. But I think a lot of people would also be a little bit upset because a lot of people tend to not like Red Bull, but a lot of people do like Fernando Alonso. So they'd be torn if Fernando Alonso happened to end up at Red Bull. Only 5 minutes remaining of this session. We've only seen really one lap from everybody in this session. There's enough time for 3 laps, really. And we've only seen one lap. Everybody's waiting in the pits right now to get out there to do their final lap for the session. Right now, those danger zone people are Joe Granu, Kevin Magnussen, Logan Sargent, Nico Hulkenberg, and Pierre Gasly, all in 16th down to 20th position there. We're looking at Jonathan Wheatley, the sporting director for Red Bull Racing. He's not looking too concerned, just having a bit of a look at Max Verstappen's car in the pits there. Lindiwe here saying, hearing Ricciardo's race record being compared to Nick's is scary. I hope Ricciardo had a great weekend to quiet those comparisons. It would be sad if we saw gets cut early like Nick was last year. Well, unfortunately, I think that's the problem, is the fact that Daniel Ricciardo is really not doing quite just well enough yet. So I think there's a lot of eyes on him right now. He cannot afford to mess up too badly in the next few races. So the Alex Albon and Logan Sargent are currently going around in those Williams. Not doing brilliantly, if I'm frank. They need to get a little bit quicker. Alex Albon not doing too badly for himself, but still needs to improve quite dramatically before the end of the circuit. A few more cars now making their way out into the track. It's now or never to get out on the track and get their laps in. It's obviously quite a long track, so cars want to make their way out to the track as early as possible to try and make sure they get the lap in and don't get caught out. Alex Albon now finishing up his lap. Now he's coming into the last 30 seconds of his lap. Logan Sargent following his teammate as well. Manisha here saying Leclerc in 10th, question mark, question mark, question mark. Indeed, not a very good lap from Charles Leclerc, so he needs to improve. He's out on track right now for his out lap, and everybody else is following him out. Old Man Roo saying, hello all, bright and sunny, but with a flood watch. I'm well clear of any flood water. Luckily, good, that's a good thing. I'm glad to hear that. Go Danny and Oscar. Indeed, let's see how the Australians do. But Alex Albon, meanwhile, finishes up a lap for himself, 129.9. He moves into 11th. Is that quick enough to keep him into Q2? I don't think so. Williams not looking as quick as it was last season. Logan Sargent now comes across the line, and he only goes to a 130.1. It's only 15th. I don't think it's quick enough. I think there you go. Logan Sargent's going to be out of the session. I don't think anybody thinks that he's going to stay in the session with a time like that. He's already in danger of losing that time. So the Alpines, the Haas's, and Zhou's Guan Yu's kick sauber. Everybody else has made their way pretty much out onto track, with the exception of the Red Bulls, the Mercedes, the McLarens, and Carlos Sainz and Fernando Alonso. I think they're quick enough already. I don't think they're going to come back out. I think that's pretty much it. Watching a replay of Alexander Albon, oh, he hits a corner quite badly. Maybe that's where he lost a bit of time. So that third to last corner is quite difficult. It's the most difficult section of the Japanese circuit. And yeah, he seemed to just take it a little bit too early on the curb there and hit it quite hard. 2 minutes remaining. There you go, the 2-minute marker. There you go. Lando Norris has now actually made his way out onto the track. Clearly not necessarily backing himself. Now, quite difficult here for Charles Leclerc. He needs to make sure he gets his A game out here. Only 1.5 minutes left of this session. And here we go. Starts his hot lap for, it's for this Q1 session. Let's see how he fares. If nobody leaves the pits now, they're not going to make it round in time. So those who are still in the pits will remain in the pits. Those are the two Mercedes, Carlos Sainz, Oscar Piastri, Sergio Perez, Fernando Alonso, and Max Verstappen. Clearly think they're quick enough to get into Q3. But Charles Leclerc, a little bit worried about his position. So he's out there on the track trying to make sure that he books himself a place into the next session. Can't afford to lose it. He's now only 0.36 seconds behind Max Verstappen. So much quicker from Charles Leclerc already. Good to see from him. Gasly has yet to make Q2 in this season so far. He's going around very, very well right now compared to Logan Sargent's type. He's gone quite quickly in Sector 1, so maybe he could get himself into Q2. And we're still on board with Charles Leclerc, of course, our big name driver, who's a little bit at risk right now, a little bit lower down compared to the others. Lance Stroll's also a bit at risk, so he needs to make sure that he doesn't do too badly there. Charles Leclerc avoids some traffic there. He's gone quickest in Sector 2. There you go, purple sector for Charles Leclerc, which is good to see that Ferraris have a little bit of pace there in the middle sector, maybe still some more pace to explore. I think that obviously Charles Leclerc might have started on older tires for this session. And now Charles Leclerc comes across the line. It's going to be a 129.3. He moves up into 4th position. Still not quicker than the Red Bulls and the Aston Martin of Fernando Alonso. Gasly goes into 15th. He just gets into Q2 right now. Logan Sargent is officially eliminated, but Kevin Magnussen and Nico Hülkenberg still finishing up their laps. Magnussen comes across the line first. Where does he go? Only 16th. He does not get out of the relegation zone. He is out in Q1. Hülkenberg, though, seems to be going a little bit quicker than Gasly. He's right on the money for it. Let's see what Hülkenberg can do. Will he be able to get himself out of this session? And Hülkenberg now comes across the line. Will he come across quicker than Gasly? He does. He moves into 11th. Brilliant from him. And Gasly moves down into 16th. Ricciardo's at risk, and he needs to speed up here in Sector 3 to get himself into Q2. He cannot afford to be eliminated in Q3 here. Esteban Ocon, rather, comes across the line now. He goes into 10th place. He kicks Daniel Ricciardo currently into the relegation zone, but Ricciardo now comes across the line. Where does he put himself? 9th. Much better from Daniel Ricciardo. Good to see. He will be in Q2. Now, Yuki Tsunoda, he's currently 12th. He's not really at risk. The two kick Saubers coming across the line now. Yuki Tsunoda goes slower than Daniel Ricciardo. That's a first. We haven't seen that in a while. Valtteri Bottas goes into 8th. Brilliant from him. And Lance Stroll is out already. Lance Stroll is out. My word. Terrible from Lance Stroll. He is eliminated in Q1. Once again, one begs the question as to how he earns that seat. Fernando Alonso finished 2nd quickest in his Aston Martin in Q1. Lance Stroll all the way down in 16th position. Absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. 5 drivers that eliminated in Q1. Zhou Guanyu's Kick Sauber is gone. Logan Sargent is out. Matt Anderson is out. Gasly is unfortunately not able to make it into his first Q2 session this season, still out in Q1. And Lance Stroll down at 16th. My word, absolutely terrible from Lance Stroll. How can you have a driver in second position, so close to Max Verstappen of all drivers, shows the pace that Aston Martin has, and you're all the way down in 16th? That is garbage. That is really garbage. That's cause for concern in Aston Martin, personally, for me. Absolutely terrible. As James says, Stroll, dead face. I mean, I cannot believe this. It really is quite terrible. Novel's here saying, I honestly think that Logan has had enough time to prove himself and hasn't. Indeed, a lot of people feel the same way. Gaz is saying, yeah, it was a good lap again, but that got no traction, can't keep going on like this, unfortunately, for him. Lindy was saying, what a mixed bag of eliminated cars. This is a really super close session. Indeed, I mean, I'm surprised George Russell and Hamilton didn't get out there. I mean, yes, Hamilton was fine in the end, but George Russell, all the way down in 12th, wasn't exactly looking completely comfortable. Joe on the radio saying not much more he could do there. Well, I think there surely would have been more that he could have done there, considering Valtteri Bottas, his teammate, was all the way up in 8th. I think, again, Zhou Guanyu's got a lot of pressure on him this season as well. There's quite a few drivers that's going to have quite a lot of pressure on them. Lots of driver movements going to happen at the end of the season. Lots of potential drivers to go to other teams. And I think, you might well have quite some significant changes across the whole board. I mean, Zhou Guanyu, Logan Sargent, Daniel Ricciardo, they're all at risk of losing their seats in Formula One. We know Sainz is losing his. We know that Hamilton's leaving Mercedes, so there's a seat available in Mercedes. There might well be a seat available in other cars as a result of that movement. So there's going to be so much movement at the end of the season. Going into next season, there's going to be completely different drivers for a whole lot of different teams. So it's so crucial that you, as a Formula One driver, did not mess up and you show and strut your stuff, because there's potential promotions in play, or otherwise your seat could come under fire. So crucial for a lot of these drivers not to mess up. And right now, I think Zhou Guanyu needs to really start working on it, same as Logan Sargent. Albon's being investigated after the session for failing to follow race director's instructions for a minimum lap time. Ganadia asking, why is everybody in the pits? Well, of course, it's the end of the Q1 session. We're going to go into Q2 in just a little bit, and that's why everybody makes their way back to the pits. You have to get off the track before we start Q2 here. Yanni here saying, Alonso sabotaged Stroll's car. He's like that. Oh, I'm sure that's exactly the reason why it all happened. Lindy is saying, not at all. Stroll has the upgrades this weekend. Alonso chose to keep the old setup. So, yeah, maybe indeed Alonso's car is not necessarily, quicker, slower rather than the upgraded car. I think that's a question we have to ask ourselves. I do know the upgraded parts arrived yesterday, so I don't know if they actually fitted them. Just you might need to have a look at that. I don't know if they fitted the parts, because I know they arrived in Suzuka, which makes no sense if they weren't going to fit them. So one imagines he actually has been fitted with the upgrades. You're going to have to check for me, Linduwe, please. I wouldn't mind if you did check for me. But I'm fairly certain he actually does have the upgrades applied to the car now, because they arrived last night, supposedly. Gary is saying it's really time that both Ricciardo and Sargent are replaced. They are both a burden to their teams. Well, Ricciardo there managed to outperform his teammate Tsunoda in Q1, so hopefully he can continue that form a little bit. Again, needs to have a couple of races. I always think only start looking at replacing a driver around 7 to 8 races in. If after then they're still not performing, that's when you need to replace them. So there's still a couple of races left for those drivers to prove themselves, but I do think Logan Sargent, Zhou Guanyu, and Daniel Ricciardo are very much under the microscope right now. Pierre Gasly as well, a little bit, but Alpine have been so useless this season. I think he's a little bit more safe than those other drivers as well. Lindiba saying Stroll's knockout is a possible indicator of the upgrades might not be performing as intended. Again, please be sure to go and check that those upgrades weren't actually applied to Fernando Alonso's car. I'm fairly certain that they might have been. But Alonso significantly outperforming his teammate across the whole track. Only turns 1 and 2 were improved by the likes of Lance Stroll. Everything else, though, better taken by Fernando Alonso. Q2 going to get going in just a little bit. Noel Porquita here saying Stroll has the upgrades. Alonso didn't take them, so he chose not to take them. Apparently, that is quite interesting. So clearly, maybe the old car is a little bit better. Just having a listen there to the earlier incident between Oscar Piastri and George Russell. George Russell being let out of the pits in a dangerous position. I think he might get a bit of a reprimand for that after the session. It's not his fault. They said the team tells him to get out there. So, yeah, he's quite frustrated with having been released like that. And I'm sure that there might be either penalties or fines coming his way after the session. And here we go. Q2 is underway. Only 15 minutes long is Q2. And an interesting change compared to Q1. The two Red Bulls have made their way out onto the track very, very early here. Sergio Perez leading Max Verstappen out onto the track. So the two Red Bulls out on the track right now, and let's see how they fare. They did quite well in Q1, getting first and third. Fernando Alonso splitting the two Red Bull cars. Let's see how they fare now in Q2. And all the Red Bull flags are out here in Suzuka for those two as they go around. So interestingly enough, the two Red Bulls have made their way out, but nobody else has just yet. So I'm hoping that we're going to see some more movement soon. I'm expecting 2 laps from everybody in this session as well. One imagines that people will start to release them soon because the track is quite long. It takes a while to get around here in Suzuka. You need a little bit more fuel on board for these qualifying sessions as a result. It is quite a long track. And so, yeah, we've seen Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez out on track. Nobody else just yet, but I'm sure we'll see some more movement very, very shortly. Nico Hulkenberg in third now, as well as not in third, but he's come out as the third car on the track right now. So a few more drivers making their way out. Oscar Piastri also making his way out into the track now as well. We're on board with Max Verstappen, who's coming around the track, and yeah, I'm really expecting to see quite a blitz lap here. Will we see anything in the 127s today? I don't think so. I think the 128s are looking more of our region, maybe the low 128s. Possibly the 127s, but let's see. Now, Max Verstappen's going to have to put up with a little bit of traffic on this opening lap, which is why people don't tend to like to go out early on. But he is now starting his lap, going past the Mercedes as he starts, and goes quickly, obviously, into the first opening corners, which are quite high speed. And let's follow along with the current world champion. And there you go, Sector 1's time of 31.0. That's actually a little bit slower than he had earlier in the day. So he's gone a little bit slower. He might be a little bit on older tires here. Max Verstappen in Sector 1, not as quick as he was in Q1 in that first sector. So let's see how he fares in the second sector. And the third sector, he is also, I don't think, actually beating Sergio Perez's time right now. Every single driver, by the way, in this session is out on track with the exception of Valtteri Bottas and Alex Albon. 11.5 minutes left of the session. Fernando Alonso is going to see how he can fare in this session as well. I'm very keen to see what he can do. But meanwhile, we're still on board with Max Verstappen. He's coming towards the end of the track here, 120 now. Let's see how he fares. Will it be a 129? Will it be a 128? He got a 128 in the first session. Let's see what he gets here. Will it be a 128 again? I think it will be. Indeed, it will be a 128.7 and the fastest third sector for the day as well from him, but slightly slower than his earlier lap today. Now, Fernando Alonso again is now starting his hot lap in Q2. Very keen to see what he can do here. The last remaining Aston Martin after that terrible performance from Lance Stroll in Q1. A lot of drivers now starting their hot laps, so we're about to get some good times in thick and fast. Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen's times were exceptionally close together, 128.74, 128.75. Fernando Alonso coming towards that Sector 1 marker. Let's see how he fares compared to Max Verstappen. He's right there, pretty much on the money with Max Verstappen, almost identical times there. So good to see from Fernando Alonso keeping up the pace there. I think, though, Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen came out on older soft tires but Alonso doing very, very well in that first sector still. Norris has now got a first fastest sector. There you go. He's gone quicker than Max Verstappen and the quickest of the day in sector 1 for the McLaren of Lando Norris. Lewis Hamilton's going around a little bit slower than both Alonso and Norris, so not going around too quickly just yet is Lewis Hamilton. Fernando Alonso now coming towards that sector 2 marker. He comes over the line, and it is how much slower? 0.2 seconds down on Max Verstappen. It's really not too bad from the Aston Martin driver. He's still getting near and near thereabouts. And now he comes to this final couple of corners, the slowest point of the track. Oh dear, couple of corrections. He hit the curb a little bit too hard. He's going to lose a tiny bit of time there, will Fernando Alonso, but he's going to come across the line in a 1:29.082, third fastest of the day so far. Hamilton's going to follow him into the final corners here, and Hamilton now comes across the line. He puts in a 1:29.8. Quite slow. Piastri 1:29.1 is quick, slower than Fernando Alonso. But here comes Lando Norris. Will he go quicker? 1:28.9. A different line he took there at the end there. A 1:28.9 is just ahead of Alonso, but still behind the two Red Bulls. Yuki Tsunoda now in his home race comes across the line in 7th position, just quicker than Nico Hülkenberg, but slower than everybody else. Russell and Leclerc finishing up their laps as well. Russell coming across the line right now. It's going to be a bit of a slow one for Russell. He's going to be into almost the 130s. Quite slow there. 1:29.829. Actually, it's pretty much almost identical to Hamilton. The Mercedes not going very, very quickly there in that lap. Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz in those Ferraris. Let's see how they do here. I'm hoping to see some good pace. Comparing the sector 2 time for Charles Leclerc compared to Max Verstappen's, he's 0.22 seconds down. So looking similar to Fernando Alonso right now is Charles Leclerc. Let's see if Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz is 0.25 seconds, so a little bit slower than his teammate Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc going around a little bit quicker, though Charles Leclerc takes the final sector very, very well. Here he goes across the line, and he's going to put in a 1:29.1. He's gone slower than Piastri and Alonso. Sainz, let's see how he fares compared to the other drivers. A 1:29.099, just slower than Fernando Alonso, but quicker than Oscar Piastri. Valtteri Bottas finishes up his race time and finishes up in 10th position, technically good enough for Q3, but obviously we still have Alex Albon to get a time in. But yeah, there you go. There's our top 10 after those first few laps. And right now, Yuki Tsunoda's in 11th, is the quickest eliminator. Ricciardo's down in 14th position. Watching a replay of Fernando Alonso, does he make a small mess up, which is what cost him a little bit of time on the track? I think he does indeed. Yeah, as I say, I was just going into that final corners. I did note that already. If he just nailed the final corners a little bit better, he might have actually competed with the Red Bull times. So it's a good thing to see that he made a small mistake there, because he still finished up there in 4th position. And he really was going around very, very quickly there, Fernando Alonso. So great to see from the Aston Martin driver. Hopefully we'll see some more pace right at the end of the session. Race controllers noted Hülkenberg's time has been deleted for track limits. 6 minutes and 45 seconds remaining of the session. We've got more than 500 of you watching alongside us. Great to have you all here. Please be sure to go and smash that like button right now. If you do so, your favorite driver will go around and get into Q3. And if you don't, I'm not sure he will. So be sure to go and smash that like button right now if you guys are joining us. And if it's the first time that you are here, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We've got so many cool things that come on this channel here. We are always live for every single Formula 1 session. And we do Moto GP in a big way these days too. And be sure to go check out our channel sponsors, BITDEFENDER, for all your cybersecurity needs. And for award-winning cybersecurity, go check out the link in the description to get a discount as well on what is essential in these days. Is to get some cybersecurity for not just your PC, but for your phone, for your laptop, for your iPad, for whatever it might be. Great to have that protection, knowing that you are then safe from all cybercrime and cyber attacks. Yes, Old Man Roo saying not for too long is Danny ahead of Yuki. Clearly not too long right now. But Danny, will he be able to get ahead of Yuki Tsunoda before the end of this session? I think it's quite an interesting battle that's brewed in Formula 1 is the two RB drivers, because I think a lot of people watching to see whether Yuki Tsunoda can actually handle it as the main driver. Can Daniel Ricciardo take him on? It's an interesting one there. The crowd is huge here in Suzuka. Great to see such a big crowd make their way out. 5 minutes and 25 seconds remaining, and Carlos Sainz has only just made his way back into the pits. Oh dear, some problems for Carlos Sainz's car, saying that he was going flat out and he felt the pedal go a little bit softer when he was going flat out. He said he felt it before turn 13 changing, so it's tiny issue here for Carlos Sainz potentially, so they need to go and check that quickly. They've only got less than 5 minutes to go in the session, so they need to motor here. Old Man Roo saying he hit like, so Danny will go through. Well, you know, you've given yourself the best chance for him. So that's exactly what I think has to happen. You can give your drivers the best chance by hitting like and see if they can get into Q3. It gives them that much more of a helping hand when you go and like the video. So hopefully that'll give them all the luck they need to get into Q3. Right now, those drivers at risk: Alex Albon, Nico Hulkenberg, Daniel Ricciardo, Esteban Ocon, and Yuki Tsunoda. Four minutes remaining. Nobody out onto track just yet. There you go. The Haas is being released. It's Nico Hulkenberg. He's released out onto the track. And so is everybody else. My word, everybody's moving out. Though I think the Red Bulls are going to remain in the pits there. Lenetier is saying, go Lewis. So let's see if Lewis can get through to Q3. Clearly a Lewis fan in the comment section there. Addison Walker saying, Ocon into Q3 for the Fantasy League will be huge. Well, Esteban Ocon's not too far away from it in 12th position, and Valtteri Bottas still there in his kick Sauber is quite impressive. Good to see him getting a little bit of pace out of that car, which I think has been terrible so far this season. Problem is, it doesn't matter how high up he starts in the race, his pit crew are bound to let him down during the race. We saw some absolute shockers from the kick Sauber pit crew in the previous Grand Prix. Unbelievable scenes in those pit lanes for kick Sauber. So they better fix their position for this weekend, because they were terrible last time out, and it ruined the race for both those kick Sauber drivers. Yuki Tsunoda going very slowly out on track. Needs to be careful, of course, and now starts to get going as he comes around that first corner and starting to just get some pace into that tires. 2.5 minutes remaining, and a lot of waving flags, of course, for the home driver Yuki Tsunoda. Esteban Ocon again, as you say, looking to see if he can get himself into Q3. He's not far away from it. He's right there and thereabouts with Yuki Tsunoda and Valtteri Bottas, and at a stretch, the two Mercedes drivers as well. So, very interesting to see what could happen here for Esteban Ocon. Can he get himself into Q3? The first time that we've seen an Alpine get into Q3. Will he be able to do it? Not so sure he will be able to, but let's see if he can. Daniel Ricciardo also hoping that he can do something here. And now the first hot laps are starting for those drivers that have made their way out into the circuit for this final 1 minute and 40 seconds before the end of Q2. Hamilton starting it all off for us, and Russell following him in close pursuit. Hamilton now approaching that sector 1 time. He's looking quite good so far, so hopefully he's going to be very close to that Max Verstappen time. And he's pretty much bang on the money with Max Verstappen. So as I say, he's looking quite good there so far in sector 1. What does Russell do in response to that? Is he also there and thereabouts? No, he's quite slow compared to Max Verstappen, 0.26 seconds. So Hamilton's going around a little bit quicker than George Russell right now, as he has done the entire weekend. It's the first time Hamilton's been outperforming his teammates so far. So good to see from Hamilton. He's actually going around a little bit quicker than he might have thought he would do going into this weekend. And I think he was saying that he was a lot happier at the beginning of this weekend after FP1, quite a lot more satisfied with how the car felt. Now approaching that sector 2 time for himself. Where will he compete with Max Verstappen's time? Will he be right on the money, or will he be slightly down like most of the drivers were in sector 2? Sector 2 seems to be the Red Bull area. No, still right bang on the money with Max Verstappen. So Lewis Hamilton here, as provided he doesn't mess up sector 3, could go round almost as quickly as Max Verstappen. He's right there and thereabouts with the Red Bull, and he goes around those final couple of corners brilliantly. So it's going to be a hell of a good lap here for Lewis Hamilton. He comes across the line here, 128.8. It's a little bit slower than those Red Bulls, but still good enough for third place there. yeah, very, very good lap time from him. Russell only into 7th at 129.1. Still good enough, I reckon, to get into Q3. Hulkenberg comes across the line here, and he only goes into 10th at 129.49. I don't think it's going to be good enough. Esteban Ocon, can he get into Q3? The session is over. Can he get into Q3? No, he cannot at 129.8. Quite slower than Nico Hulkenberg. But Daniel Ricciardo and Alexander Albon are following them out. Daniel Ricciardo comes across the line now. He goes into 10th. He's into Q3 temporarily. He's into Q3 right now. Can he hold on to it? Alexander Albon now coming across the line. Where will he finish? He goes only into 12th. He is out of the session. Daniel Ricciardo is still in the session, but it's all eyes on Yuki Tsunoda. Will Yuki Tsunoda go quicker than Daniel Ricciardo in his home race? He won't. No, he will. Oh my word, just beats Daniel Ricciardo. It's 10th position. Valtteri Bottas comes across the line in 13th. And there you go. Those drivers are out. Daniel Ricciardo misses out on Q3 by just 0.55 seconds. Exceptionally close between the two drivers. So upsetting. So upsetting for Daniel Ricciardo. He was so close. But Yuki Tsunoda in his home race, fair play to him, has made his way into Q3. That's huge for him as well. And Yuki Tsunoda is quite chuffed with that. But I feel so sorry for Daniel Ricciardo there. He actually went around very, very well. And it's much better from Daniel Ricciardo. He was much closer to Yuki Tsunoda than he has been for a little while there. And I think just missing out on Q3, yeah, by 0.055 seconds. So disappointing for Daniel Ricciardo. So close to getting to Q3 instead of Yuki Tsunoda. But I suppose it's a good thing that Yuki Tsunoda in his home race gets into 10th. I don't think that'll be held against Daniel Ricciardo too much as previously. He was so close to his teammate. And I think pretty much those two RBs are going to stay in 10th and 11th. You know, obviously, Ricciardo won't move. But I think Tsunoda will not go quicker than any of those other drivers. So, to be fair, Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki Tsunoda starting in 10th and 11th is pretty accurate for where those cars should be. Lindy was saying, damn, Danny Rick, well done, Yuki Tsunoda. Indeed, Daniel Ricciardo so close, but not able to do so. Yeah, let's see what can happen here in Q3. Those two Red Bulls still looking very quick, but Hamilton went across the line quite quickly as well. Lando Norris there and thereabouts. Fernando Alonso, if he didn't make that mistake, could have been so close as well. Lynette's also joining forces with Carlos Sainz, hoping that Carlos Sainz does quite well as well. Alex Albon really went across the line there quite badly there. He might have his lap time deleted slightly. Not a great lap for Alex Albon. He's not had the greatest start to this week, to this Grand Prix season. He was doing so well last season, but he's not had the best of times this season so far. I don't think his car is nearly as good as it was last season, but slight problems for him this season so far. Oh, shame. We see Daniel Ricciardo made a slight stuff up in the second to last corner there, which might have cost him the time. And actually, fact of the matter is, it did cost him the time that could have got him into Q3. If he just nailed that corner a little bit better, he would have been there instead of Yuki Tsunoda. So disappointing for Daniel Ricciardo, but he's out of the session in 11th position. Hulkenberg in 12th, Bottas in 13th, Albon in 14th, and Ocon only down in 15th position. As Noel notes there, only 4 drivers were in the 128s in that session there. Alonso would have been there as well as, I think Sainz could have been there as well if they just didn't make those small stuff-ups they had coming towards the end of that run there. So we're going to have Q3 coming up. It is only 12 minutes long. It's a much shorter session than the other two. Q1 is 18 minutes long. Q2, 15 minutes. Q3 is 12 minutes long. So Q3 is going to get going in just a bit. And we still have the home driver, Yuki Tsunoda, there in 10th position. He was 10th fastest. Charles Leclerc, a little bit of concern for him. Only 9th. Piastri in 8th. Russell 7th. Sainz 6th. Alonso 5th. Norris 4th. Hamilton all the way up in 3rd. Perez and Verstappen 2nd and 1st. The Mercedes have looked quick this season so far, in this Grand Prix weekend so far. So I think they're hoping that they can try and get somewhere near the top for this final session here. Quite crucial that we're going to see some quick laps put in by a lot of these drivers. And I think we could see some very interesting things near the top there. I think the Red Bulls will be quickest. They've looked very quick all weekend. But who's going to finish up there in possibly either 2nd, 3rd, or 4th position? I think that's going to be more interesting because I think the Red Bulls might have a little bit of competition for the Mercedes, but I think the McLaren and the Ferrari and Aston Martin's Alonso will be there and thereabouts. Just having a chat right now to Zhou Guanyu about his lap and what happened there for finishing up in 20th. He's saying that he reckons he's got better pace around the cars that around him, but just yeah, the car is still not quite performing as he'd like to. Ricardo's ready. He said, "All right, Daniel, I know you always need to do a little bit better, but you should be pleased." Basically, being told, "Don't be disappointed." Yep, I'm obviously not, but I appreciate it. We've done well. So, not happy about finishing behind Yuki Tsunoda. He says, "Yeah, let's focus on the positive." So, I think the team just trying to give Daniel Ricciardo a little bit more backing than some people might be giving him credit for. I think Daniel Ricciardo feels the pressure. I think that's the first sign of him feeling that pressure in terms of trying to beat his teammate there, not getting into Q3. I think he's very disappointed by that. I think his happy face has not been there this season so far. But, I think the team, they're just making an effort just to go and say, I know you're disappointed, but don't be. I think that's because of how close he was to Yuki Tsunoda. They'll basically bang on, both of them, more or less the same sort of times putting in. But just missing out in Q3 as a result. It's the disappointing part about qualifying sessions. You can miss out on getting through by so little. But just, I think Daniel Ricciardo should be pleased with that, because I think he will be pretty much starting very close to his teammate Yuki Tsunoda tomorrow in the race. I think Yuki Tsunoda will only finish up in 10th position. Ricciardo will start in 11th. So he's going to be competing with his teammate straight away from the get-go. And if he outperforms his teammate in the race, that's a more impressive feat than starting ahead of him and finishing ahead of him. If he starts behind him and finishes ahead of him, that's even more impressive. So I think, quite frankly, for Daniel Ricciardo, he should look at this as a positive. See if he can get ahead of Yuki Tsunoda in the actual race. As Exo says, Perez is doing well as well. Indeed, Perez doing very well to keep up with his teammate Max Verstappen up there in second. Will he be able to do that in this final qualifying session? Will we see a Red Bull 1-2 at the front of the grid? It'll be crucial for them to do so to ensure that they get maximum points, basically, because it's very difficult for cars to compete behind them when we see that sort of start. But will they be able to do so, or will we see some drama right near the top there with a Mercedes, a McLaren, or a Ferrari, or even an Aston Martin tossing it up there and giving us a bit more of an interesting thing to look at? We'll see. So, sorry, just sharing some facts and some figures being put out by the commentators here about the stats with the Suzuka circuit here, being told that apparently only 3 times in the last 39 years, is that stupid, has anybody outside of the front row, the first and second position, won here in Suzuka. So quite crucial to finish on the front row to win a Grand Prix here. And I think that's pretty much what they were just trying to say. But they're now just checking those stats, because apparently they're now throwing some other figures at them saying, well, that can't necessarily be true because all these other things happened. But in the meanwhile, whilst they go and check those stats, maybe we'll find out about it. Q3 is underway, 11 minutes and 20 seconds left, and all the cars immediately making their way out onto the track. So let me know in the comments very, very quickly before we get there. Who do you think is going to finish on pole? Go and spam your driver name. Who's going to finish on pole? And if it's not Max Verstappen, who's going to finish in second and third as well? Be sure to go and let me know in the comments right there. And also go and like the video right now to give your driver the best of luck. And be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And again, be sure to go check out our channel sponsors in the description. Charles Leclerc stayed in the pit lane right now so far. He's not making his way immediately out there. With everybody else. Yuki Tsunoda doing the same thing as well. Though Yuki Tsunoda's not made his way out the track, but Charles Leclerc waiting in the pit lane. Interesting there. Maybe he doesn't have enough tires and he's only going to do one attempt around the track. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one to look at what's happening there for Charles Leclerc. But Lewis Hamilton is out on the track. Let's see how you can fare. Previous pole positions: Max Verstappen in 2023, 2022, Max Verstappen as well. And then obviously we had a break. Suzuka only raced in 2019 before that, which was Vettel, 2018, 2017, Hamilton, and Hamilton again. So Max Verstappen for the last 2 races has finished on pole. I think he's looking good to finish on pole again in 2024 to make it 3 in a row here in Suzuka. But of course, there are a couple of other drivers that are going to try and compete for that position as well. I think mainly his teammate, Sergio Perez. 10 minutes to go, and Lewis Hamilton starts Q3's first hot lap. Yanni here saying Max is going to finish first, Perez second, and Alonso in third. I think that's quite a good prediction, actually. I think that's not too far away from where it might be. Alonso has been looking very, very good, competing with those Red Bulls, even splitting them in the first qualifying session. So that's quite a nice prediction. I quite enjoy that. I do think a Mercedes might also say something about it. Let's see how Hamilton fares in Sector 1. We've seen 31 seconds. He's got a 30.9. It's the quickest for Sector 1 of the day. There you go. Fantastic to see from the Mercedes. They've got a little bit of pace being shown here. Great to see from Lewis Hamilton. George Russell, much slower than Hamilton already in that first sector. So Hamilton's really motoring around here. Verstappen, though, takes that first sector away from Hamilton, so maybe not. Hamilton now having to try and speed up in Sector 2 to try and see if he can compete with Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen only just quicker, though, than Lewis Hamilton, so they're bang on the money for each other. So it's going to be quite competitive at the end of this lap here. As we enter under 9 minutes left of the session. Lewis Hamilton now coming towards that Sector 2 time again. 111s have been put in previously. Will he get under 111? A 111.0, another purple sector for Hamilton in Sector 2. Will Max Verstappen be able to beat that? George Russell finishes up Sector 2 as well. He puts another new purple sector in Sector 2. He's caught up a little bit to Lewis Hamilton, but Max Verstappen, will he look to go and get that purple sector away from the Mercedes? He does indeed. A 110.7, my word, brilliant lap there from Max Verstappen in Sector 2 at least. But Hamilton puts a 128.766. Russell puts in a 129.008. But Max Verstappen, current world champion, comes across the line now. He's going to go into the low 128s, I think. A 128.2. Brilliant lap from Max Verstappen. And also gets purple sector in Sector 3. But there's a new purple sector in Sector 1. Who put that in? Sergio Perez puts in a 128.6. He goes into second. Max Verstappen now first. Sergio Perez second. Hamilton third. Russell in fourth. Fernando Alonso is finishing up his lap. He doesn't seem to be going quicker than those other two. And he still looks good, though. So let's hope that he gets into the 128s as well. Would he split the Mercedes? Will he split the Red Bulls? A 128.8. He does split the Mercedes into fourth position, just behind Lewis Hamilton. Lando Norris is going around very quickly, though. As his Sainz, he goes around to 128.6. He moves into third position. Piastri now going to come across the line. What is he going to come across the line in? A 128.76. He goes into fourth now. Lewis Hamilton all the way down into fifth. The McLaren and the Mercedes and the Ferrari going quicker than Mercedes. Lando Norris, he goes second. Oh, he's so close to Max Verstappen. So close. A 128.4, only 0.2 seconds behind. Yuki Tsunoda in his RB only goes around in the slowest time so far put in. Charles Leclerc still yet to make his way out into the track, but great to see that Lando Norris' McLaren so close to those Red Bulls and splitting the Red Bulls now currently in second position. But I think we might still see some movement right near the top there. I think everybody's going to need to make sure they get back onto the track because I think there's going to be some more movement right near the top there. I think we can go quicker than what we've seen. Great laps, though. Fantastic laps. Very interesting to see. Quite a few different drivers there, all competing right near the top there. Now, Leclerc is being released now with 6 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. So clearly, he's only going for a one-lap attempt unless they're going to be able to get him in and out ASAP. But Charles Leclerc is only going for what it seems one lap this session. He's not going out on his own, not to deal with any traffic, not to deal with anything else. It's an interesting strategy from Ferrari. We've seen this before. Some interesting strategies from Ferrari. Not necessarily good ones, but certainly interesting. Charles Leclerc is now released from the pit lane as everybody else makes their way back into the pits after competing one lap. So Charles Leclerc might only have time for one lap here. So let's hope that this is going to be a good one for him as he makes his way on his out lap. Fernando Alonso, I think, can also finish a little bit higher up. I reckon he's got some more time to find. I think he was on an older set of softs, funny enough, for that lap. I think he can get closer to the low 128s and be right near the top there. As we just crossed 700 people watching, be sure to like the video right now if you haven't already, and we'll see some more movement right near the top here. But a fantastic Q3 session has entertained us so far. It's under 6 minutes remaining as Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen make their way back into the pit for Red Bull. Alonso is also back into the pits now. Everybody back into the pits with the exception of Charles Leclerc again, who's going to go around and do it by himself. As Gabriel says, come on Leclerc, let's see what happens here. Indeed, Old Man Roo saying, excited to see Lewis firing up. And Alonso being told on the radio, we are P7 at the moment. It's a 10th and a half to get P4. Yeah, I don't know what to do to go faster, mate. I thought it was a good lap. I think he can go faster, though. He says these sort of things, and then he does go quicker. I promise you right now, Alonso, it can go quicker. Yeah, he can go quicker. Come on. You can go quicker than here. I'm sure you can. 5 minutes remaining. Charles Leclerc, the only car out on track. Everybody else in the pit lane right now. Let's see how he can fare as he goes around the second half of the track. I'm really hoping to see a quick and blitz lap from Charles Leclerc. I'm sure he can do something to give us something to watch He has been doing decently this race weekend around third and fourth position. I think he should be looking at himself. He should be beating Carlos Sainz, though Carlos Sainz, of course, has proven how good he is. But here we go. Charles Leclerc starting his hot lap, which will probably his only one. Hamilton on the radio beat saying, okay, Lewis, so that's half a second to Verstappen. And he's asking, where's that half a second, man? He's not knowing where he's going to find it. Charles Leclerc now starting his hot lap, as I say, sector 1. Let's see how he fares compared to Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen put in a 30.869. Charles Leclerc is going around, not jerking around too much, so it's looking like the car is in control. Hopefully, he's going to be blitz here for Charles Leclerc's Ferrari as he comes towards that sector 1 marker. Let's see how he compares to Max Verstappen's time. Will he put in a new purple sector? He is 0.24 seconds down already. I'm not sure it's going to look like a great start to this lap right now for Charles Leclerc. He needs to go quicker. Come on, Charles Leclerc, find some pace. Find some pace somewhere else. Core saying, is there a speed limit on the outlap or not? There's a minimum speed. So some drivers might be investigated for that, but I think everybody's met it so far. Naval saying, the Ferrari strategies always make me nervous. Indeed, it is making me nervous now because Charles Leclerc is going quite a bit slower than Max Verstappen's time already. 0.24 seconds. That's not good. That's already looking slower than Norris's time. He needs to find so much more time in sector 2 here, does Charles Leclerc. And he comes towards that sector 2 marker. Let's see how he fares. Frederick Vasseur is looking very nervous. Charles Leclerc comes across that line. He is quicker in sector 2. He's the quickest in sector 2. A purple sector for Charles Leclerc. So there you go. He's going quicker now. He's looking at that second place. He's looking at Norris's name, seeing if he can get there. I don't think he's going to compete with Max Verstappen, but he might be able to compete with Lando Norris. How does he fare in sector 3? He comes across the line here in sector 3. What will he be able to do? A 128. No, my word. Terrible, terrible, terrible from Charles Leclerc. A 128.7 all the way down in 7th. Shocking decisions from Ferrari. Once again, as I say, not necessarily good, interesting decisions, but shocking decisions. Only down in 7th, 0.54 seconds behind Max Verstappen. He's down in 7th, and he's not got enough time to get back to the pits unless he motors. He needs to get back to the pits if he wants to get back. I don't think he's going to be able to get back out there. That's terrible. Terrible from Ferrari not to let him out earlier. Ethan, yes, Max needs to chill. I think I was about to say Max has gone round very, very quickly here, and he's back out in his out lap. Hamilton is about to make his way out, as is Russell for their final laps here. All these drivers about to put in their final laps here, and Charles Leclerc went out without any traffic and only put in a 7th place finish in that Q3 session. Really not a great decision from Ferrari there. I really do question it. Lost a lot of time in sector 3 as well. He managed to pretty much get bang on in sector 2. He managed to get much, much quicker. But yeah, it's disappointing to have seen Charles Leclerc not put in a decent lap. He's not even quicker than his teammate Carlos Sainz, even though Carlos Sainz went out with the traffic in the beginning. And Carlos Sainz is having another attempt. Very, very weird from Ferrari. No idea what they're doing. But here we go. Starting some hot laps. Leclerc on the radio saying, that's the best that I can do, honestly. I don't get it. Yeah, he's not happy at all, is Charles Leclerc in that Ferrari. Very confused as to what's happening there. Lindy is saying, oh dear, Leclerc, what strategy is he on? Everyone else is doing their outlet now. He will drop. Damn. Indeed, I don't think Leclerc will finish up in 7th. I think he might finish actually all the way down in 9th because I think everybody else is going to go quicker here. Sergio Perez, let's see what he can do. He's the first car to lead this first outlap after the second one. And he's going to get a 30 point. He's gone quicker than Max Verstappen in the sector 1. It's not a purple sector, but it is quicker than Max Verstappen's first sector. So it's good to see from this Red Bull of Sergio Perez. He's going around a little bit quicker than Max Verstappen. Here comes Max Verstappen in sector 1. Does he put a purple sector in? He does indeed. A new purple sector in sector 1 for Max Verstappen. 0.092 seconds quicker than his original time. Victor quickly asking, will Norris hold position tomorrow? I'm not so sure. He needs to hold position right now first. Valkyrie asking, if Leclerc is doing a cool down and then go for another try, in my opinion. No, he's done. He's 100% done. Sainz has gone slower in sector 1 compared to his original time. It's not good to see from the Ferrari. That's disappointing from Carlos Sainz. I don't think he's going to move anywhere further up than 4th. Sergio Perez puts in a new purple sector in sector 2, 0.128 seconds up on Max Verstappen's original time. But Max Verstappen is going to go a little bit quicker in sector 2, I'm sure, as he comes towards the sector 2 marker. And he puts in only a green sector. So Sergio Perez might even get pole here. Sergio Perez comes across the line. A 128.2. No, he's gone slower than Max Verstappen still. Max Verstappen is going to go a little bit quicker than his original time, possibly, as he's going to come across the line now. Here he goes. Will he go into the 127s? He goes to the 128, still just quicker than his original time, 128.197. Carlos Sainz now coming across the line. It's very, very slow compared to Max Verstappen, and it's going to be quite slow compared to his original time as well. Not a good time for Carlos Sainz, 0.6 seconds quicker, slower than Max Verstappen's quickest time. Tsunoda comes across the line at 1:29.4 and slowest time, as I said, 10th position, where I thought he would finish. Alonso's only 0.3 seconds down on Max Verstappen, so he could, if he finds some more time here, finish up here in 3rd or 4th position. Come on, Alonso, as he comes across the final couple of corners. Let's see where he finds some more time. A couple of jerks. I don't think it's going to help him. A 1:28 points. He moves into 5th position. Moves into 5th position, just ahead of Oscar Piastri right now. But Russell and Hamilton still going around the track. They're going to be the latest drivers to finish up here. Let's see what they can do in those Mercedes, because they are going quickly. The Mercedes might prove a problem for some people here. Let's see what they can do. Oh, track limits might be a thing for George Russell there. I think they're going to have to look at that. I think that he went slightly over. We'll have to have another look at that. But we're right near the end here. Q3 is technically finished, but we're waiting for these drivers to cross the line here. We've still got a couple here. Hamilton to cross the line still. Piastri and Norris are finished. They've not gone quicker. Let's see what these two Mercedes can do. Hamilton's finished. He's only good enough for 7th. Russell's the only one we're watching. I don't think it's going to go quicker. So I think that is going to be this end of the session. Russell goes across and too slow. Mercedes put a lot of fight up there, but not good enough in the end. Really not good for them. There you go. That ends Q3. Verstappen first, Perez in 2nd, 3rd, Lando Norris, 4th, Carlos Sainz, 5th, Alonso, 6th, Piastri, 7th, Hamilton, 8th, Leclerc, 9th, Russell, 10th, Tsunoda. Not good from the Mercedes there. We were hoping that they would do a lot better there. And yeah, unfortunately for Lando Norris, he was not able to get into the front row, but he is in 3rd position, gets him the best position outside of the Red Bulls. But the Red Bulls did brilliantly. A 1-2 for them. And Sergio Perez just missing out on that pole position. But a really, really interesting Q3 there for a couple of people there. Charles Leclerc, stupid strategy from Ferrari to do that. I don't understand that strategy. Hamilton and Russell, 7th and 9th, not good enough for those Mercedes drivers. Alonso, after saying he couldn't do better, did better, got himself into 5th position. Carlos Sainz, the highest starting Ferrari, in 4th position. So going again from all the way down to 20th to 1st for tomorrow's race in terms of the lane. Zhou Guanyu 20th, Sargent 19th, Magnussen 18th, Gasly 17th, Stroll 16th, only down there. 15th is Ocon, 14th Albon, 13th Bottas, 12th Hulkenberg, 11th Ricciardo, 10th Tsunoda, 9th Russell, 8th Leclerc, 7th Hamilton, 6th Piastri, 5th Alonso, 4th Carlos Sainz, 3rd Lando Norris, 2nd Perez, and 1st Max Verstappen. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Lots of people saying thank you for the commentary, and thank you so much. We'll see you all tomorrow, of course, for the race here in Suzuka. It's going to be an interesting one. Be sure to join us for that stream, and be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you guys don't miss it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Mark. Bye.